And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is our power rankings for Week 5 of the WER 2025 season. Only one game played in Week 5, so surprisingly, though, a little bit of movement going on. And man, I gotta say, the game of Week 5, even though it was just one game, was an exciting game. WER has been proven to be a very, very exciting product, especially with the two teams that played against each other. It's a really cool rivalry that's being developed. We'll go into it, of course, when we review the game. Now, if you've never watched my power ranks before, it's all about what's going on the pitch, not necessarily with the team rankings in the conference standings. So even though you might have a team that's sitting on top of the conference, they may not be the number one team in the power rankings. It's all about who you beat, where you beat them, and how you're doing in the now, not what you did in the past. So if you're a team that might have started slow but working your way up, you may still be in the bottom of the rank in the conference rankings, but in my power rankings, you might find yourself up pretty high. Plus, if you're a lower ranking team beating a higher ranking team, you'll make a huge jump. If you're a lower ranking team beating on a higher ranking team beating on a lower ranking team, you don't move nearly as much because you're supposed to win those games. So, with that being said, we'll start with the one team that was still looking for a win. They were on a bye, the Chicago Tempest, so they sit at number 6. Now, before I talk about any of their teams, only 2 teams played this week. That means 4 teams are on a bye. I'm not really big. My policy on teams that are on bye, if you're on a bye, I don't feel good on moving you because you really didn't do anything. You didn't play, so there shouldn't be any reason for you to move up. But on the flip side, there should be no reason for you to move down. Unless there's some reason that I really can't avoid moving teams around. I try my best to kind of make sure teams that are on bye stay put and I move the other teams around. But the way that this kind of worked out, I had to move a couple teams around despite the fact that they were on bye. So let's go into the review of the one game that was played this week. And man, what a game it was. The Boston Banshees taking on the New York Exiles. In Boston this time around. Last time that these two teams played, they played in week 1 and it was in New York. Boston was able to steal the win away at the last second with a penalty try to break hearts in New York. Will New York reciprocate that? We'll see. In the game again, if you haven't seen it, you can watch the game on DAZN. It's absolutely free on the replay. I highly recommend. If you haven't seen a WER game, watch both games. It's an exciting little rivalry between Boston and New York. In this game, Boston strikes first with a maul and score. New York gets a yellow card. But despite that, they have some pretty strong defense. But Boston is able to get a score right as their woman from the sin bin gets back on the pitch. That player was Kayla Huckin-Clark. As soon as she gets back on the pitch, though, she scores for New York. A really phenomenal try. In the second half, New York gets the first try within 2 minutes to take the lead, 14-13. Then they follow up with another try by Misha Green Yachts, and then Yeja Dunn, who scores a try, her league-leading 6th try of the season. Right before the second hydration break, New York strikes back though with an aggressive try to retake the lead, 24-20. Boston had the opportunity to try to score the winning try. Unfortunately, they knock on the ball at the end of regulation, therefore losing a heartbreaker in Boston 20-24. Again, this rivalry between the Boston Banshees and New York Exiles. Unfortunately, they are not going to play against each other anymore in the regular season. But man, has it been a fun, exciting rivalry between these two teams. Hopefully, we'll see them play against each other in the playoffs. But with that being said, because of New York's win, and a very impressive win as is, they jumped up from number 4 up to number 2. But because Boston, didn't really lose that badly, I felt that they should only drop one spot from 2 to 3. But unfortunately, because of the Exiles moving up, and Boston had to move down, that also means the other 2 teams had to move down as well. So the Bay Area Breakers moved from number 3 to number 4, even though they're on bye, and the TC Gemini moved from number 4 to number 5, even though they were on bye as well. Of course, the Denver Onyx, who have been unstoppable and looking like the best team so far this season, they stay in number 1. They stay untouchable. But the New York Exiles, with the impressive win over Boston, move up to the number 2 spot. So that's the power rankings. Again, only one game, so quick video. We'll now preview upcoming games for week number 6. And now let's preview week number 6 of the WER 2025 season. 2 games for the weekend, one on Friday. So Friday footy returns to the WER. Just a reminder, all these games you can watch live or on demand on the DAZN network, or DAZN, depending on how you pronounce it. Absolutely free app, usually associated with international sports like international kickboxing or MMA, soccer, boxing as well, but they have women's sports and they have WER. It's a great free service. Highly recommend you check it out. Friday, April 25th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the Bay Area Breakers going over to the TCO Stadium. It is the Minnesota Vikings training facility to take on the TC Gemini. TC Gemini still looking for their very first win. This is a rematch from the April 15th game, which was not too long ago. April 5th game, which was not too long ago. Unfortunately, that game is the one game that did not air, unfortunately, because of something to do with the Bay Area Breakers home venue. So we didn't see the game, but in that game, Bay Area Breakers pretty dominant over TC Gemini, 66-12. TC Gemini have been struggling quite a bit. Now, granted, these games, I forgot to mention, may be a little bit different on the outcome just because a lot of the USA Eagle eligible women's players will not be participating in these upcoming games because they are now with the USA Eagles team. They will be playing an international match against the the Japanese women's team on Saturday, as well as prepare for their Pacific 4 tournament and the Women's World Cup. So some of these games may end up turning out differently because the teams will be different. Bay Area Breakers will be losing a couple of players, including Catherine Treader, Elif Kelter. TC Gemini, unfortunately, do not have anybody on the USA Eagles women's team, so they have basically the same team. Will that affect things? Honestly, until I see it, I can't really say yes. I've been pretty good with my predictions before last week, which unfortunately I got that wrong with the Boston-New York game. I'm 7-2 overall, very, very good. I think the Bay Area Breakers will win this one over the TC Gemini, and they'll still be trying to look for that first win. Then we move on to Saturday, April 26th, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. You have the Denver Onyx taking on the Chicago Tempest at the Martin Stadium at the beautiful campus of Northwestern University. This is also a rematch of a game that actually just happened a couple weeks ago. Denver Onyx taking on Chicago Tempest in Denver at Infinity Park. Denver put a whooping on Chicago, 76-7. Now again, the Denver team that's been playing so far this season is not going to be the same Denver team that is playing now, because Denver has the most players on that USA Eagles team. They will not have Hallie Taofu, Talia Brody, Rachel Johnson, Mackenzie Hawkins, Erica Kulababy, who has been amazing, by the way, and she'll get her very first debut USA Eagles cap. So congratulations to Erica Kulababy. Also to teammate Capone Bailey will also be getting her first cap as a reserve on the women's team. Also, Rachel Ericke will be on that team. Kristen Bitter's on that team. And I think that's everybody that I mentioned. So, again, a lot of Denver players will not be playing on this team, the same team that played against the Chicago Tempest a couple weeks ago. Will that make a difference? Again, I just don't know. I have to see it, but, I mean, it's a lot of players that Denver will not have. I think Denver will still look good. Chicago is a good team, but, I mean, you know what? I'll make an audible here. I thought originally Denver was going to win this, but man, Denver is losing practically their whole team to take on the Chicago team now that's pretty much has everybody still intact. Chicago will be home. They definitely want to impress their home crowd who's always been there. I think Chicago might win this one, so I'm changing my pick. Let's go Chicago over the Denver Onyx. And again, uh, this game kicks off at noon, so you have plenty of time to then watch the 3 o'clock RCLA San Diego game, and then the 5 o'clock, 5:30 kickoff for the USA women's taking on the Japan women's team, which would be the second half of the header at Wallace Annenberg Stadium in Los Angeles. That game you can watch on Rugby Pass TV for absolutely free. I'll have a preview video about that game, but it's a full day of a full weekend of rugby, USA, women's, MLR, and WER. It is a great time to be a rugby fan here in the United States, and I'm always happy to help preview that. So again, these are the games. Watch them on the DAZN Sports Network, absolutely free. Thank you very much for checking out my video, and I'll see you on the pitch.